So Rebecca Gary's written a story, lexical times beginning to this section is about teaching vocabulary online. It's kind of focused on young learners, but a lot of background on just what are we going to do today. Today, I'm going to tell two stories and talk about setting contexts. I'm going to show you some theories of vocabulary teaching. I'm going to discuss frequency, recycling, and look at some app-based ideas and give you some top tips at the end. But guys, today, a little bit different than usual. I'm going to make sure that there are activities the whole way through. So there'll be lots of different activities. It's not quite in order, but you're basically getting some theories with some activities that you can do in line and sort of thinking about it as well. I'm not here just to give you fish, but it's also teaching you how to fish, I hope. So I always start with a story, okay? So this is a typical student that I have met many times in China, for example, or I've met them in Vietnam, or I've met them in in Hong Kong or anywhere around the Asian region. And they would study IELTS a lot, or they would do their TOEFL, and they would study lots and lots and lots of words, and they would study every day. Or they would do their Gaokao. I don't know if you know Gaokao, but Gaokao is the exam in China for all the kids, for all the people finishing year 12. Yep. And they would do all these lists of vocabulary, and I'd always see them doing it. And often looks like this, right? And if you go on to any website and type IELTS, you'll get all these lists of vocabulary. So these students would keep studying lists and lists of vocabulary. Then they would go and pass the IELTS test. They would get their 8 or their 6, whatever they needed, or their TOEFL score, or they would pass their Gaokao. But, of course, a month later, they'd forgotten all the words. And this is a major issue. And I see this happening in China all the time. I would see people study lots of vocabulary, pass a test, and then forget everything. And this really worried me 15 years ago when I first came here. It really worried me. I thought, what's the point in all of this? And unfortunately, people are still doing it. They're still teaching lists of vocabulary and hoping that the kids or the teenagers will just remember it all. So it's effective for passing a test the next day or the day after, but it's not very effective for learning a language, just doing lists of things. Things like IELTS, and exactly. So that's exactly right, Rosanna. And then sadly around China, but if you're in Vietnam, Japan, if you're in anywhere, you get test-based language learning, right? So they put lots of words on the board. You have to say them all. Yep, in Egypt, I'm sure as well. In lots of places, the kids remember them, they write them down, they do a test, and then they move on. And of course, this means that the kids don't go back and do the language again. This idea that once I've studied those words, I don't need to do them again. So many parents will tell me, and if there's any parents out there today, hi to all the parents, because I'm trying to encourage parents and teachers to come together. Many parents will say to me, my child's already learnt the colors, so I don't need to learn them anymore. Thank you, Marvin. Excellent. Okay, keep going. So the idea is that there is a lot of test-based learning around the world, and a lot of it is focused on vocabulary, but it's not necessarily working. And I think we know that, right? So I'm going to put some words on the board now. I'm going to put some words on the screen. Don't type now. Please stop. No typing. I'm going to put some words on the screen, and I want you to type the words that you do know. Type the words not the ones you don't know. Are you ready? Here are the words. So look at the words and type the words you do feel confident with, okay? You feel good about. Great. Stories. Great. Exposure. Collocations. Great. Pre-teach, notice. Stories, pre-teach, notice. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Wow, meaningful input. Awesome. Oh, who was that? Someone wrote a lot there. Rebecca Gary, awesome. So Rebecca Gary's written stories, lexical chunks, forgetting curve, meaningful input, and test-based learning. Rote learning, awesome, awesome. Most of them, great. Well, I think for some of you, you know all of them. Okay, so I think if everybody knows all of these, I don't need to go on and I can just move on, right? But basically, this I'm trying to set a context through vocabulary about what we're doing today. So this is a lot of the vocabulary you will see today. And what's nice is I love doing this with kids, is putting up a slide and getting them to write what they do know or say, right? Because hopefully online you've got all four of them, or 4 or 5 or 1 kid right here in front of you, right? You guys just keep typing. It's too much for me to read there. So, for example, in this one, yep, Maya, no worries. So if everybody... Yeah, it is like pre-teaching, but really what I'm doing is setting a context, right? So for example, for the kids, right, I might just throw up a picture. Now, when you're online, it takes 10 seconds to find a picture, throw it up on the wall and on in front of them, and then just get them to say what they do know. I like it when kids tell you what they do know, and then you can start crossing them off, right? So we did this one before. So in this one, they might say to me, okay, I say, okay, kids, you've got 10 seconds. Say everything you do know. And then they say nectarine. Okay, they know nectarine. Okay, they know raspberry, and then they don't say cherry. So I know today I'm going to focus on cherry, right? So this is just a context setting for what we're doing today. So these are some of the words you're going to hear about. But I think it's a lot of things we've read before, but let's see how they can work in practice. So I'm going to talk about 4 things in the theories today. The first one is this one, enupu. I don't know if anyone knows it. Then I'm going to show you some ideas around the lexical approach, the most famous one of all. Then we'll discuss the forgetting curve and decay theory and how you can combat that. And then we can do ZPD. Yes, this is all the webinars are recorded. Does anyone know what ZPD is? If you know what ZPD is, I'm just trying to see who knows. Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, let's see who knows. Great. Anna Hasper, Taryn. Good. And does anyone know what enupu is? If anyone can know what enupu is, I'm going to give you a prize. Yeah, I sent it out earlier, didn't I? That's in a flipped classroom approach. I hope you all got my email earlier. No idea what an enupu is. Okay, so let me move on, guys. I'm going to talk for a minute now. So I'm going to talk about enupu, okay? E-N-U-P-U. This is this idea that kids in countries like China or Vietnam or maybe Egypt, they're not going to see and hear enough English. They won't see and hear enough English. And it's also the idea that language needs to go in before it can come out. Language needs to go in before it can come out. So let's find out, what is enupu. Sorry, let me just clear what's on my screen. So here it is here. E is for exposure, notice, understand, practice, use. So so this is this idea that to learn any new word, you need to be exposed to it before you can use it, right? You will always learn it better if it's exposed to you. So when you're naturally learning a new language and you're not going into a classroom, it's like if I'm in China, and if any of you come to China, the first thing you'll start hearing very many times, 16 to 20 times, you'll be exposed to 谢谢, 你好, 谢谢, 你好. You'll hear 你好, 你好, 谢谢, 你好. And then you'll realize that you'll start to notice that, right? You'll be noticing, so that you go from exposure to noticing. And very quickly, you'll start to understand. And you'll start to realize, ni hao, what do you think? Ni hao, ni hao, ni hao. You'll just notice it, right? It means hello. It means you good, but it means hello, right? And I didn't teach myself that. No one taught you that. You just pick it up. That's the natural way a language comes to you and new words come to you. All of this happens. Now, what I see when I'm traveling around doing teacher training, and when I was a Trinity observer, is I see most teachers, and I'm not saying you guys, but a lot of teachers go straight to practice. So they come into class and they say, "Hi, kids, we're learning some new words today, and the first word is bear, 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 bear. Now, tiger, lion, lion, lion." And then the kids, then they say, "Now get together and practice, and then use it or ask a question." And the problem with this is you're not letting this happen. You're not letting the exposure and the noticing and the context of the language come out. So if you just do this, you spend a lot of time practicing and then a lot of time forgetting. So the first thing I was trying to show you today was this idea of exposure and noticing and understanding. A lot of this you could be doing before class. You can do this before a class. Remember that this takes time. Yes, so very good, Miss Maya Malik. Maya, where are you from? I forgot where you're from. No worries, Elizabeth. Good to see you there. Yeah, Maya. So this leads us on to this thing, and all of this here essentially is about what? Yeah, well, practice doesn't mean use, because practice means I'm just saying the words with my friend or I'm practicing with a teacher. Use means I don't need someone to support me to do it. It's gone in and I'm out using it in real life. So the next thing we need is setting contexts. So let's have some fun. What can you do online with setting contexts? So I did this one last week. Very simple. I just throw up a picture to my kids and I say, firstly, get them to tell me what they can see. So my kids will say, "Oh, I can see an elephant," and they will circle it. And then I can see a trunk. I can see a tree. So this is where you're letting the kids think about, what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be going to a zoo. That's what we're going to do. So there's some meaning for learning these words. It's not just and I'm not saying a zoo is a great context, but there's some sort of meaning to this. And then, as I mentioned last week to whoever was here, really nice thing you can do is you ask the kids, especially if it's children, what can you see? And then you ask them, what can you hear? And then they can start to say, I can hear the elephant. I can smell the elephant. But you see, with the vocabulary coming out, they're still putting some context to it. There's some sort of, meaning around that it's not just gorilla. It's a smelly gorilla. And now I've got some the mystery box, right, is awesome, but you can do that actually in front of you. But I'm not going to answer too many questions on there at the moment. This is the next one I wanted to show you, and I'm just going to clear this. So very simple here. What do you think the language is here? What do you think the language is? What's the vocabulary? Yes, Maya, very good. Yeah, feelings. And can you guess some of the words? Okay, awesome, right? So for kids, what I see a lot of people doing is introducing the words before they've had a think about it. I think one of the beautiful ways to introduce new language is through stories. So this took me about 20 seconds to write this story. So rather than coming into class and saying, let's learn the feelings, I would come into class and say, "Hi, kids. One day we had a party, and this is my party. This is John, and John, he is very happy. And this is his brother." You don't even need to have the words on the screen, obviously. This is his brother, and he is angry. This is my sister, and she is very excited, right? And this is her friend, and she is sad. So this is John, and John is very happy. And this is his brother, and he is very angry. And this is my sister, and she's very excited. And this is her friend, and she is sad. And then you can ask the kids, okay, who is sad? Who is sad? I want to see. Right, yeah, right. And who is happy? And then now they're getting some context, right? So then you might say, okay, and John is and then they say happy, right? So now they're starting to talk. But just by presenting something as simple as presenting it in a story, and then you can put up the text, right? And then you can say to the kids, okay, now underline the words happy, angry, very excited. Be careful to remember that. That's a nice little collocation there. And sad. Suddenly you've turned this into something a little bit more interesting than just some new words. And then let me try and see if I can actually show you this now on, yeah, right, the adverb comes in. We'll talk about that in a minute with the lexical approach, okay? But let me just show you. I'm going to try and share my screen now. Wish me luck. Good luck. Share my screen. Run in app. Okay, give me, let's hope this works. And give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's coming. Yep. And I'm going to put this on. Yep. Oh, awesome. So can you guys see, yeah, can you guys see my, what can you see? You can see this, right? So just for example, with that one, this is a really, oh, I'm not sure why the sound is not working. It was working a minute ago, but it's not working now. But basically, in your online class, this is a really nice application. And then you can go in and play the game with them. Yeah. Right. And then we've already done the words in a story. Now you can say, okay, kids, board. Where is board? Is it this one? Yes. Is it this one? No. It's this one. No. There it is. And they've changed position now, right? Oh, what happened? It's disappeared. There it is. Here it is. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so it's saying, it's saying if the kids were in a class, they can say it. I will tell you the application in a minute, guys. Happy, sad. Yeah, and now the kids have to test themselves. So they just press the button and they test themselves. Then you can actually send that to them at home and get them to practice that as well on their iPad or on their phone or something. But now you've done a full lesson, right? You've entered in, you've set a context, you've focused around the vocabulary, and now you've tested them on that vocabulary. I want to play one more game with you on this app, and I can share this app with all of you for a trial. Let's just play one more game. This is a game I really like. It's a nice way to set a context. And I won't tell you what we're going to learn about. Well, it's pretty obvious now. So you're going to see a face and try to remember the face, okay? Try to remember the face. Let's have a watch. 10 seconds. Remember the face. Look at here. And look at its hair. And look at its ears. You got 5 more seconds. Okay. I'll tell you at the end. So what color was it? What color was it, kids? Yeah. Now, so is it number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? If you go from top left. 2, okay. What hair? Number 2? 2, okay. Let's see how well. Oh, my bad. I missed it. How about its ears? Number 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6 on the bottom? Okay, Rosanna, I trust you. What about its nose? What about its nose? Okay, 6 again. Oh, which eyes does it have? Who can tell me? Matt Irving, I trust you. Oh, no. Who is it? Everyone said something different. I'm going to say number 3. And then we do its mouth. Number 5 doesn't matter, right? And now the kids can see, did they get the right thing? And it's all online, right? Let's have a look. Good job. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. My bad. So we only got 3, but now we play again and we can scaffold up and get them to try and do it again. And they will they just love playing that game, right? So I'm just going to stop sharing. We'll come back to that again. And I will tell you about what the app is called in a minute. Don't worry. So in this game that we just played, we had to do quite a few things. It's from an app called Fun English for Schools. I will tell you about it at the end, okay? But the point of that game was, what was the vocabulary? What was the main focus of vocabulary? Yeah, right. So we did the face parts, but we didn't just say eyes, ears, nose, which is a classic one, ears, nose, but there was not much context when you do that, or head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But that's not what people do. That was set in context of describing someone, which you might do, what did his hair look like? So we presented it in context. It's a little bit more motivating, but there was also some receptive language, and I don't know if you heard it, but there was some questions in there. Did you hear the questions? Yeah, it's good for memory as well. There were some really good questions in there, guys. So there was things like, what color was his hair, right? That's very useful for kids. What about his nose? How about his ears? What about his mouth? So then you get all this other language. What about? How about? And all that is just receptive, but it lets the kids have the face vocabulary and some receptive vocabulary and some chunks at the same time. And then the kids can work together. You can do group activities. Really nice one. You can use this on Zoom, on Click Meeting, and on Skype. You just have to download it on Windows and then use it. I'll tell you about it at the end, though, okay? Cool. So that was enupu, exposure, notice, understand. So I exposed you to some language here by listening and seeing. And then we had to do some things, and then we practiced by doing the game, right? Didn't really use it yet. When you say what ages, look, I've done this with 4-year-olds and I've done this with 10-year-olds. Both are okay. 10-year-olds love it because they're a bit more, they think about it a bit. Okay, tell me if I'm back. Welcome back, Cynthia. Oh, hey, Cynthia. Good to see you. He's gone for a beer. Who said that? I've got to find out who said he went for a beer. Andrew Ryan. Anyone want to go for a beer? That's pretty funny. He didn't pay the bill. Okay, cool. What happened? I think I'm back. Are you guys back? Great. This happens a few times. The whole world is online at the moment. So lexical approach is our next one. Can you type anything about the lexical approach that you know? Anything. Words, yep. Reading. Oh, no. That's lexile, actually. That's usually like your lexile level. Yes, Rebecca Gary. Nice. Josephine, great. Lovely, Nedra. Yes, push. Oh, cool. Phrases. Yeah, great. So let's have a look. I'm going to do a bit of lecturing now. The lexical approach was developed by Michael Lewis in 1993. When I first discovered it, I had been teaching for 2 years, and then I finally read the lexical approach, and it sort of blew my mind that I hadn't thought about it before, that it's so obvious, but I hadn't thought about it. So before I read this, I was very used to just doing, tiger, I like tigers, but I wasn't really thinking about it in another way. So Michael Lewis has this idea that we should get children, or students, sorry, I should say, to produce language in lexical phrases or chunks. I'll explain. He focuses on fixed expressions, and it's the idea that vocabulary is more important than the grammar. Vocabulary is more important than grammar, and that it helps you sound natural, because You're pulling more natural turns of phrase. He talks about chunks of language and collocations. So let's have a look at what these mean. Oh, here's a really, really simple one. Do you tell me which ones of these, do any of these are not very good? Which ones would you not teach a student? Yeah, very good. So I don't think we would teach a student elegant dog. We probably wouldn't teach them handsome girl, right? But we might say, what a silly monkey. And we might say, that's a yummy cake. Why? Elegant dog is not wrong. It could be an elegant dog. It's technically grammatically correct. Both the words are correct. No one would say it, right? But this is the issue when you teach kids vocabulary on its own. If you teach elegant and dog, we get this problem all the time. When I speak Chinese, I make these problems all the time and people laugh at me. They say, no one would ever say that. But it sounds right in my head because I'm saying it in English, but in Chinese, it wouldn't make sense. And that's because when I learned Chinese, I learned in a very single word vocabulary style. So as this is the idea of lexical chunks and collocations. Let's have a further look. You're probably already teaching lexical chunks. So the most famous lexical chunk in English teaching, two of them are what's your name and how are you? And yes, they're a question as well, and they're a phrase and they're a sentence. But the point is that learning how are you, you would never teach how is an adverb plus are is a verb in the second person singular present, blah, 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 blah. You would never, yeah, are you married? Yeah, that's a classic. You would never teach that you is a pronoun. You just teach how are you. And what does it mean? It means what you say to people when you see them. How are you? So the idea of just teaching how are you is a lexical chunk, right? It seems so obvious, right? So let's dig a bit deeper though. A lexical chunk is an umbrella term which includes all other terms. We define lexical chunk of any pair or group of words that are found commonly together. And collocations are words that are habitually seen together, things like adjectives and nouns and verbs and nouns, not compound nouns, okay? Not a fire engine. That's not a collocation. A fire engine is a compound noun. But just let's continue because I want to play a game with you. Just to give you some more example, like by the way, very useful lexical chunk, but you wouldn't teach it like by plus the plus way. It's just by the way. It means I want to tell you something. Up to now means from, yeah. So you see these are all things that are chunks, but they're not collocations, but they're still useful for the students to know. And they're just as easy to learn as a single word, okay? The next one is things like collocations, like totally convinced, strong accent, terrible accent, accident, sense of humor. They just go together all the time. So why wouldn't you teach them together? And this is the issue. So many teachers just teach one thing and then don't teach all the words around it. So let's play a game. The word accent, this is sort of pitched more at our level. So strong accent, but I want you to tell me all the words you can think of. Oh, I didn't think of that one. Neutral accent. Perfect. Thick. Oh, I didn't think of that one either. Giuseppe, good to see you. English accent. Beautiful. American accent. Angry accent. Fluent accent. Native accent. Who said that? Hung Vu. Perfect, right? Funny. He has a funny accent. You see, when you're teaching the word accent, you can, what Michael Lewis calls it is collecting, right? He collects words around it. So then I just had a few that I had, but you guys had hundreds. So every time I teach a new word to a student, I'm going to collect some words for them. So it could be a strong accent. It could be a little bit of an accent, a natural accent, he has a strange accent. Ooh, I don't think we should teach this one. So let's cross this one off. But he has a broad accent, a poor accent. And then you start to give them all these other words, right? So just by teaching one word, you've suddenly taught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new things for the kids to say or the students to say. Let's do another one. Ha. You know, how many times have you taught a kid apple? How many extra words could you be teaching them? Exactly. A tasty, oh yes, Anna Hasper, I had that one. A red apple, a juicy apple, right? A fresh apple. And then we spend, a crunchy apple, a nice one, a sweet apple, a small apple, a lovely apple, a fruit apple, right? So the point is, Yeah, I love this, guys. I don't know if Washington apple is very common, but it's a good one. Bruised apple, yeah. So for even a little kid can learn 3 of them: red apple, a green apple, and a juicy apple. That's 4 words now all around apple. But what most people do is they teach apple, orange, banana, and they teach all these different words together, and the kids have to remember which one's an apple, which one is an orange. And the same for me. I'm learning when I do Chinese. I get my fruits mixed up all the time because I learnt them all at the same time. And this is so much more useful. So let me have a look. Which ones are not good collocations? Can you type them in, please, and I'll cross them off? Silly apple. Yeah, we wouldn't. So this is a really cool. Sorry, this is an act. Well, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. I need to go back. Sorry, guys. Slow down. Stop for a second because you would be speaking. So a really nice activity for kids is you get your if you're doing this in a Zoom class or on an app, one of your things in an online class, you get a rectangle and you put all the words on the screen, and then you ask the kids which ones are not. Yeah, so we wouldn't have flying. Okay, let's do it again. Sorry, can you type again? I missed them. Yeah, you probably wouldn't say fancy, so we wipe that out. Incredible? Yeah, we wouldn't say incredible. Very good. And you get the kids to think about it. Could we have a blue apple? Probably not, right? Oh, we wouldn't have a silly apple, would we? No, kids, that would be silly. We would have a crispy apple. We wouldn't have a funny apple. That would be weird. Imagine having a funny apple. You could have it, but you probably not. Oh, and now we have all the words that collocate, right? And then you can get the kids to come and write those words down, or they can draw, they can come up here and draw on the screen or something, to show you how they all join together. And they can say crispy apple. Now it's your turn. Shiny apple. And you can do some concept checking. But what you've done there is you've presented the wrong words and got them to think about it. Would you say that? And it gives you a beautiful opportunity to teach. Tasty apple's a beautiful one. Yeah, so that's just called the lexical approach. This is called collecting collocation. It's collecting. Simple activity to do. You can do this offline and you can do this online. Do you know how long it took me to prepare? 30 seconds, right? One picture of an apple and then about 30 seconds typing the words. That's all it takes. 1 minute and you've already prepared that for your class. But you might get 10 minutes of teaching out of that, right? Ooh, and that's the same. Doing a mind map is the same. I'm not going to do that now, but you can, do a mind map, get them to draw on the screen, having some things together. Hello, Bernie Benossa. Here's one for you guys. I love this one. This is just another collocation activity. So let's do this together. I just started teaching. I don't have to tell you what the answer is. Yes, exactly. The lexical approach had a strong on me. I've just started teaching German, but obviously it would be I just started teaching online because that's the context. So it had a strong impact on me or influence. Good. That's the dog I've ever seen. Or effect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what would this be? Would it be biggest, cutest, bravest, right? So these are my answers. But what you're getting the kids to do is it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be biggest, and it doesn't have to be influence. It could be strong impact or strong whatever. And it doesn't have to be teaching online. Most likely that was the context for now. But what you're doing by doing that activity is you're giving them a collocation and you're giving them meaning, right? Exactly. And you wouldn't say that's the big dog I ever seen. It would be biggest, right? Really simple one. So that was the lexical approach by Mr. Michael Lewis. I highly recommend. Go online, type it in. So many activities, but the simplest ones are just putting a word in the middle and getting them to fill out all the words around. Not, that's very different than saying fruits and then adding all the fruits. It's one word and adding all the words around. Let me just go back for one page though. And if you think about it, you can use these words again. You can use crunchy again. You could talk about a crunchy chip. You could talk about a shiny ball. You could talk about a red anything. So by adding those words, they can keep using them again, and then they start building all these nice things together. Yeah, exactly, Maya. That's a really good one. So in this one, guys, my favorite one, not my favorite one, lexical approach is my favorite. No, it doesn't have to be adjectives. It could be like a flying car. It could be verbs and nouns. Adjectives are great, but adverbs and verbs go well together. But geez, do you know what I say? I always say this: adjectives are the paintbrush of English, right? That's what gives you the meaning in English. Adjectives are beautiful. But I think English has by far. I think if you look at the corpus data on how many adjectives, we have more adjectives than any other language because we've pulled adjectives from every language. We've pulled them from Latin and we've pulled them from German. We've pulled them from French. We pull them from everywhere. So we have this massive array. Or I don't know if you could yeah, okay, let's just say that they are the paintbrush of, but I mean, yes, Rosanna, I'm not saying it has the most, but we have a lot of adjectives, so it's really great for kids to keep using them. Okay, guys, let's move on to the forgetting curve. So the forgetting curve, and then I'll show you another activity. The forgetting curve is just this idea of not enough frequency. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to have to learn mine now. So the forgetting curve is this idea that kids probably aren't repeating or recycling language enough, right? And it's the idea that when you learn a new word or a new bit of language, but a new word, there is this sort of decay effect, and you start to forget it over a few days. And the issue with this is that it's great if you want to study for a test and then do it, but then it's gone, right? So what we need to do is obvious. We need to repeat and recycle. Now, some people think, oh, but repeating and recycling is boring. Yeah, sometimes it's boring, but sometimes it's not. And this is the idea that we can't just teach a set of language and then say, okay, it's done now. I've taught the colors. No, they need to come back again and again and again and again. So just remember the forgetting curve was first coined by Hermann Ebbinghaus in 1885. He was a psychologist who did it with, he made up, fake words like wid and bog and dig and dong. And a little bit out of use is good. So become harder to recall. Yeah, desire difficulty and stores in a deeper time. Yes, which is where I'm getting to next on this. So it doesn't have to be every day, right? So there's some research that shows, if you learn a piece on the piano, for example, and then you do a test an hour later, you will do worse than if you went to sleep for 12 hours and had a good sleep, let those memories go in and then try it again, right? And then you'll actually do better on that test. But over time, we need to have this kind of like cycle where we go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's most language learning. What's the OMG? I'm interested what Rosanna said. So this is, when we look at decay theory, this decay theory suggests that unless a word, we use the information that is stored regularly, it slowly starts to disappear. But there's another, spaced repetition, right? There's another theory that says that information does stay in our memory, but we're unable to reach it, right? I don't know what the light in the box is. I'll have to look it up. So there's this idea of the cue-dependent forgetting, which is that, and when they did they've done research on this, and I'll put the quote, I'll put the, what do you call it? I always put the sources in when I send this out to you. But in the research, it had subjects forget lists of learnt words, but could remember them when they were given appropriate information to help them recall. So that's the point, that they think it's somewhere in there. It's just not coming up. It's stored too far down. I'll get the citations for you. When I send this out, I always add them. You'll notice down the bottom of the slides. I didn't put this one in, but I'll make sure that the slides are down here on the bottom. And then the research shows it's like a cue, right? So if you're trying to remember the word pear, then you have to remember it's a fruit, and you're more likely to remember it, which is why sometimes the collocations, I usually have a mental block, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's the on the tip of the tongue idea, right? That it's there, but I can't get it, and it's somewhere in the back. So I need something to remember it. And that's why I love collocations as well, because you're kind of giving them something, and it's like, yeah, what is it again? It's a red, it's green. Oh, that's right, it's an apple, right? It's not accessible immediately, exactly. Anyway, the way to combat that, and I'm not going to get deep into all this, all the theory of it now, because we can read about that. I just want to show you some other activities you can do online. So the idea, obviously, is trying to present the same words in different contexts at regular intervals. The same words in different contexts at regular intervals, or some sort of intervals, right? Right, lightness. Yeah, right. So, for example, I'll just show you one, the one we did earlier, which was, I'm just going to share my screen again and show you, because you're all, Yeah, okay. You guys can have a look at that later, but I'm just going to show you now some ideas of this repetition that we can put into our online teaching. So let me share my screen again. Are you ready? Here we go. Opening the app, and hopefully this will work. So this is something you can all use if you are teaching kids, and I think many different ages work for this. Here it comes. So I'm just going to show you another one. When we were doing before the angry, happy, etc., right? The idea is that kids need, so this is an app you can use, as I said before, you can download on Windows and use it in your online classes. And what you're doing, what it does is it's giving you lots of different ways of presenting the same language. And here it is again. So we played that game before, and we don't have to play it again because we've already done it. We then get another game here, so we might end up playing, right, just a little thing, and it's just practicing again. Scared, and the kids get to play. A little bit more practice, a little bit more input. Okay, I'm not going to play it all with you. Then the kids might get it in a dialogue as well. So here it is in a dialogue. And then we get the same words again. Look angry. I'm just sad. Right? And then I'm sorry. And all of these are collocations, right? They're all chunks of language. You look angry. I'm just sad. And then we want to repeat it again somewhere, right? So we get it in a song. Let's just put it in a song. Yeah, you get it, right? So this would go on and they learn the song. You look sad. I look sad. Yes, I am. And then you might have it in here as a game, right? So there's a lot. Yeah. No. Right. And this is just it is just a lot of vocabulary practice, but you're getting it different things on different websites. Now it's not a website. Or maybe that's a different one. Oh no, that was the bubblegum one. Bubblegum. What's it called? Bubblegum. Cool. So in this, when you're using this, you get lots of different context for the language. What's even cooler is you can then send that home to the kids, and the kids. So I'll just stop sharing again. Where am I? I can't. Yep. Stop sharing and go back to my presentation. And then the kids would get the same thing again at home. So they've done it online. And then I think my camera is back. They've done it online. And then you want them to, they can get it again at home. And you can get it on the. Yeah, that's true, Holly. No worries, but that's the point. You might not want to do that, right? So then you can go back and then you can play it to them. They can go and do it at home. So you can actually send them that language at home. They can do it before class. Holly, I agree. Like you can just really, it's true. Sometimes it's such a lag on the song. You might send them the song before class. They've got a bit of context. They're seeing how it goes. And then when they come to class, you just do some refreshing and playing, and then you do some more interactions, right? So I'm just going to go back to my presentation. So as you can see, in one unit, you get all this different language and presented a different context. Really, that's just about combating the forgetting curve, getting lots of spaced repetition. Over time, they're getting a few different things. What's beautiful about that is, though, you can actually see reporting from the app, and you can see how well they did. So you can actually see for each word what they did. So they did really well with happy and sad, but not very well with scared and angry. So as a teacher, you're so much more aware of what they need to do in the next class. And that's where language learning doesn't stop just online. It's got to happen a bit. It keeps on going. I'm going to speed up a bit, guys, because I keep answering all your questions, and then I realize that I'm running behind. So yeah, this is another thing is that I will tell you at the end. And then you can actually see how each child is doing on each word. And that's the key to, I think, with vocabulary teaching is it's so hard to know if they're acquiring it. But if they're using it on an app and you can see how well they're going, overplaying it many times, you get this really good idea. And I'll tell you at the end, okay, guys? everything at the end. So, and I mean, these are just some really simple ones. We're not going to do this today, but another really simple one is if I'm doing something online, put all the words on the screen and say the longest sentence or write the longest sentence. Very simple one to do online. We can just play this one really quickly. Same game you would play in a class, you can do it online, but the key is to have the white box. So you have these little white boxes you can get on most of the online platforms. So you get your shape. I think like ClassIn has them, Zoom has them, Click Meeting has them. And we say, okay, kids, are you ready? Now have a look at all the words, all the animals. Now close your eyes and what's missing, right? And then they have to guess they have to tell you what's missing. Very simple, obviously, but it's just a memory test. And it's the same. I think the point is it's the same offline and online. So just be prepared, just prep these things up and then have these little tools. And then you can go back again and say, good job. And then we do it again. Okay, kids, close your eyes. And the kids love doing that, right? Yeah, it's such a simple one, right? But we've all done it before, but there's nothing different when you're online, okay? One I really love is when I start my class online. So I've got all my kids across the top of the bar. And instead of saying, hello, how are you? We just do a silly game. Like I say, today it's animals review. And it's just a vocabulary game. So I'll say their name. And instead of saying here, they have to say an animal. So I'll say, Jason, he says cat. Lisa, monkey. Jonathan, elephant. And they just say some words. But the point is, it's just another simple, silly way to practice vocabulary online rather than just doing here, right? There's always a chance to review last week's vocabulary or the last lesson's vocabulary. Simple warm-up, right? Okay, last one. And I'm going to do this quite fast. Zone. Oh, we know what this one was. It's the zone of proximal development, right? So ZPD is the old Vygotsky theory. Came out in the 60s, but I think a lot of people came back and sort of realized how good Vygotsky was and what he had actually done. And people like Krashen and Terrell came out with input plus one, which is just ZPD. So zone of proximal development this is what a child knows. Oh, let me get a different color pen. This is what the child knows or the student knows. This is what they need support with, and this is what they don't know. So it's all about adding a little bit more and getting them to that uncomfortable position, and then that's where the learning is happening, right? Still stay comfortable. So what's this? What's this here? Great, Giuseppe. And that is the idea of scaffolding, right? Scaffolding. It's in Vietnam. Yeah, I think this one's in Hong Kong, but it's the idea of scaffolding being that when you're learning a language, yeah, good on you, Marvin. Exactly. So when you're scaffolding, the language needs to be scaffolded too. Really, what this is called as well is just input plus one. So if you look up Krashen's input hypothesis, it's the idea that you can't go input plus 10. You can't go input plus 5. It's here's some words and it's always lovely to start the class with a few words that they know and then plus 1 or 2 or 3 more on. Don't plus 20 on. And really, I plus 1 is just ZPD. That's all it is. It's just exactly the same theory reworded into language learning. It's almost an identical hypothesis, right? But it's obvious. You learn a bit, you feel comfortable, and you know it, you use it, and then you plus some more on. So some simple things are like, I won't show you again. I don't want to go back into the app, but like in this app, for example, you're playing Palmanism, but what we do is we make it get harder and harder throughout the app by changing the words where they are. We add more cards so that it's not that the language is getting harder, but the cognitive skills around the language are getting harder. So the plus 1 is developing other skills. Let me play a game with you very quickly. So have a look here. This is actually from the same app again, from the same, I'll just show it on the screen. I won't put it on the screen share for now because just to save time, but it's the same app and the game is here, right? So the kids have to, and all they have to do is press here. Pink. Right? When adults play this, they never know what to do. They say, what should I do? What do? I don't understand. But kids are very smart and they just press the button. Pink. So what is pink? What do you think is pink? Yeah, it could be the flower. Good try. Maybe the flower. Okay, what is yellow? What is yellow?
Pink.
And what happens when they play, right? So we do pink.
Pink.
And then it's the flower, right? And then it's
orange.
Orange, and then we do
Orange.
Right? So you guys guess, right? So it's really easy then. But the point is, and this is what I really like this one for is, so then you've gone through on the app. Let's just do it a bit more. I'll just show you because it's a really, really nice one. And it's so simple. And you can play this on your desktop as well. So blue. What do we think it is?
Blue.
Oh, it's that one. And then
red.
Red. What do you think red is? What do you think red is? Yeah. Oh, not the bed sheet, not the carpet, not the the clock. Yeah. Oh, wrong side.
Red.
Right. And then there's one more.
Yellow.
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 And then we're finished, right? So the point is with this one, I love this one because it's not the language that is I+1. It's the cognitive ability. It's a little bit harder. You've got to think, oh, a duck is yellow or a ball is orange. And there's a little bit more critical thinking there. And I love that idea that when you're doing something online, you can always don't just have it as what is it? Get them to think about it. Yes, push, but I love it. So I love it when I see adults pick up the app and they say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to play it. But kids don't do that. Kids will just try and do it, right? They're not afraid of trying new things. And yeah, the I+1 is a cognitive skill here. It's not necessarily the I+1 has to be always language. It's your input is a language. The +1 is the critical thinking. Okay, I'm going to wrap up now. I've got about 10 more minutes, guys. Sorry, but this is just some last pointers for you at the end. I will tell you in a minute, okay? I'll tell you everything at the end, Hang Vu. Just some really quick pointers, some top tips that I have learned from my online teaching days is, number one, remember, like I said in my last webinar, always when you're teaching online with vocabulary, you have content. Kids have content at home. Kids have toys at home. If you're teaching animals, tell them to get a toy, right? Tell them to come and pick up something. Don't just teach dogs. Say, go into your room and get something. Show me the ears. Show me the nose. They're there in their house. You never had that before in a classroom. Now you have that online. So remember that they're at home so that they can really start doing something. You're at home too. You can have all your stuff organized. You can see here, I have my books, my colors, I have my blocks ready. All of this helps with your online teaching. Realia doesn't have to be just in a classroom. It can be online. Number two, use your desk. People think when they're online that there's no reason to be using what's in front of you. So very simple, just do this. You see what I'm doing? I just move my camera down and here is my paper. I always have paper here and I'll just go to the big screen and then suddenly I have a new class. So if I've got my blocks, which I always say, very, very simple, I'll just go, oh, we're learning the word cat, and I might say, oh, here we go, C-A-T, right? Cat. I don't know if that's backwards. I can't tell. C-A-T, cat. And then I'm doing it with the blocks, and then I might say, that's for phonics. So there's so much you can do with blocks. I do lots of things with blocks for pronunciation, etc. But my point is, don't be, when you're teaching online and you're teaching vocabulary, you have what's on front of you. Just bring down the screen and start drawing your pictures, doing things. So don't think of online teaching as just like this. Online teaching is here as well. So that's just a tip from me. The next one is, use blocks always. Remember that what you want the parents to be doing, and if there's any parents here, is the more parents can integrate what you did online, the better. So I often encourage my, yes, of course, Marvin. I often encourage my students to tell mum and dad what we did in class or get the parents to come along and watch. So if you were doing colors in class that week, then you go and tell them to do it while they're cooking, or play a game and talk about the colors, right? Or whatever it is, it's something that the parents can be doing outside of your online class because they're watching the class. 2 more to go. I'm not going to do this. I'll send you this in the presentation. I don't want to answer this now. These are just my favorite 3 questions I always ask people. Pre-teach or not pre-teach, lexical sets or not lexical sets, and how many words. But I'll send you this and you can think about it for the next webinars. I'll do another one in the future on this. My last game for the day and my last tip is, when you're teaching new vocabulary, hopefully your kids have lots of books at home. So at the end of every class, I tell my kids, I want you to, if we learn 10 new words today, I need you to go find those words in the books at home. And then what you're doing is you're taking the language online, and going to offline, and you're getting them to really think about that. So lucky last here, my 4 final thoughts is, always set meaningful contexts. At the beginning of today, I put up the word, I told you a story about the vocabulary list, which wasn't a good thing to do. I showed you some words, and that was a context. Recycle and repeat. So we keep coming back to the ideas today of meaningful context and repetition. So always remember, kids need to recycle language. Use what is off your camera. Don't always think about what is on the camera. Yep, stay online and I'll tell you all about it. And lastly, 99% of what you do offline, you can do online. There's not much difference. It's just thinking about how to get it onto the screen. So that's it. For today, I showed you our app again, and I often show you guys this, but I mean, at the moment, we've decided, because of the coronavirus and because of the school closures, we're letting everyone use it for 30 more days, the whole of April. Download it online. You can download it to your Windows, and you can use it in Zoom. You need to download and create an account, and it's just for 30 days. If you go to studycat.com, you can download. You can create an account. On there, you can actually even invite students to use it on their app, and that they can be learning on the app, and they can be learning. So people like, I know Giuseppe has it here. A bunch of people in Vietnam are using it. So you download it, and you can use it in Zoom classes, Click Meeting, some other platforms. The other thing is, you just need to go to our www. I'll show you in a minute. 30 days though, and then I might extend it if you contact me, if you're very nice. Just remember to go to, our next webinar is more of a discussion on what will happen after. Studycat.com/schools. I'm just about to type it in at the end. And then you can apply for you'll have to, when you go on there, just click trial. And when you click the trial, you have to sign up, and then you'll get an email. Check your spam folder. Make sure you check your spam folder, and then you'll be able to download the app and enter it. Once you've created an account, you'll be taken to the dashboard, and then you can use your account to log into the Windows on your computer, etc. The certificates are generated automatically. We're trying to get better ones. Giuseppe doesn't know. Oh my God, I feel bad. I'll tell you where you can get it, Giuseppe, right now. At the end of this, in 2 seconds. Guys, remember to add me on LinkedIn so I can, you can keep in contact on LinkedIn. And remember, everything on at studycat.com, we have Twitter, Facebook, what's this one? Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Check us out there. I know you did. I saw you there. And if you go to, let me just get you up that page. You can download it, Giuseppe. Well, yeah, because Giuseppe, you've already signed up. So I'm going to get that page for you right now. You can download the app here. And let me just go, where are you all? Here. Are there any ones that can provide you fixed phrases? No. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Giuseppe, oh, you can't see my screen? Oh, well. Thanks, guys. So, guys, yeah, if you go on there and then, awesome. And Giuseppe, I need to talk to you later too. I was going to reach out to me on Skype, man. Thanks. Great to see you all, guys. We had people from so many different countries. Guys, the certificates are generated automatically, but I'm now going back and getting a better version of certificates. So soon we should be able to send you all your certificates again. And I apologize, they're not very good quality at the moment. I'm trying to update them. Yeah, that's what I'm just saying now. We're trying to get a better version of certificates. It's hard to generate hundreds of certificates, so I'm just trying to work out a best way to do it, because I don't really like the ones that generate from the system automatically. Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure to see you all. Next week won't be so practical, and then the one after that is going to be super practical about technology in the home. Peace out, everybody. I really enjoyed today. Was amazing. You guys really made my day. Goodbye, Mr. Ryan. Peace, Darren. Be safe. Yeah, you all be safe too at this crazy time. And looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Awesome. What a nice bunch of people. Henry Casper, I didn't see you in there. Marvin, Quinn. Oh, I don't have the link to listen to the next lesson. Everything is available at studycat.com. So go to studycat.com and look for webinars. What happened to Matt? Yeah, be safe. I can't keep up with reading these guys, so I'll try. I'm trying to read them as they come in. Yeah, I agree, Holly. Holly, where are you, by the way? Because I've seen you a few times, right? Bye, Quinn. Oh, you're in Vietnam. Yes, I know where you are. I think I remember it now. You told, yeah, you haven't been in for a while. Oh, hi, Tony. Good to see you. Hi, Sarah. Thank you. Awesome. Bye. See you again, Pushpa. Yeah, and Holly, you're at Vin School, right? Oh, awesome. That's great, because we're going to be seeing more of you then. Ah, you're in primary. Okay. Yeah, peace, Cynthia. All right, guys, I'm going to hang up. Salamat. I can't say none of say Jan. How do you say it? Sayonara. I can't remember how to say it in Spanish. Bye bye, guys. I'm really going to go now. Bye.